Good morning. I'd like to start off in this year, Tafshin Pei. I'd like to start off a new series which I'd like to call Spot the Difference. It's all about, in every single parasha, to single out something which is common on the one hand to other people, other religions, and it's got a universalistic appeal. But on the other hand, there's something different about the concept as it appears in the Torah and in Judaism Bichlal. So that's the series that I want to start off, Spot the Difference. I think that it actually started off with, because we, after still Simchat Torah, still a month or so after Simchat Torah, and I always get up on Simchat Torah and say the following speech, that we, after completing the cycle of reading the Torah, we dance in the Torah, we have hakafot. Not only that, we have hakafot shniyot, and it always reminds me that the only people in the entire universe, as much as I know, that they dance with the Torah. The Christians keep their laws, the Muslims keep their laws, the Buddhists keep their laws. They might even keep it with a larger intensity and very scrupulously, but I don't know of any other religion besides the Jewish people that actually dance and are happy with the Torah. You don't see Christians dancing with the New Testament. You don't see the Muslims dancing with the Quran. They keep the Quran. They say that. You don't see people, for example, communists dancing with the book of Karl Marx. Only the Jewish people dance with the Torah. And that says something. Because when we're coming to define something, comparative religion and things like that, so it's not so much what is common to these things, but it's actually the differences that give us an idea and give us a certain message and require us to go deeper into what these differences mean. So, as I say, this is what I want to start off with, Spot the Difference. Just before, I want to tell you a true story. It's like a joke, but a true story. When I was in Los Angeles in the 1980, between 84 and 86, I was teaching at Yeshiva University, and Marvin Hire, everybody knows him from the Simon Wiesenthal Center, Yeshiva University of Los Angeles, connected to it. He told the following story. He said, he told me this person, he said that at one stage the Kennedy Foundation donated a lot of money to a Yeshiva University in New York. And Yeshiva University wanted to honor them. So it was over the Sukkot period, and the Kennedys were invited to a Sukkah in Yeshiva University, and the president then was Rabbi Dr. Belkin. And because the Kennedys were religious, they were abiding Catholics, so they also the Catholic priest, Archbishop, to come and to accompany him. So he got up at the sukkah and he spoke about the commonalities between Judaism and between Christianity. And then Dr. Belkin got up and he said as follows. He says, Your Eminence, correct, there are things which are very common to Judaism and Christianity, but there's also things which are the big differences. He says, for example, you see, you wear a red skull cap and you represent institution which is in the black, and I am wearing a black skull cap and I represent an institution which is in the red. So yes, there are things which are common, and there are things which are different. There's now one or 2 points before we start to spot the difference. I'd like to make one or two or a couple of comments, introductory comments. The one comment is that when we contrast certain religious practices, etc., so we don't claim that we've got a monopoly on all that is good. The Parsha of Yitro is exactly to come and tell us, no, you know, the Moshe Rabbeinu was the greatest prophet of all time, and the greatest Chacham, and yet Yitro's father-in-law, who was at that stage kind of machloket, whether he was Migai or not Migai, but as the Orach Chaim said, he was taught him a thing about how we set up judicial procedure, how we set up courts. We haven't got a monopoly on every single thing. Number two, the Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim says that there are many things that that are universalistic or seem universalistic, but were after the Churban, they were stolen from the Jews. That is a statement in Moreh Nevuchim, and maybe in other Parshiyot I'll deal with that. And last of all, as I said before, when dealing with things which are common, things which are different, it's actually the differences which define what exactly is the essence and the difference between these things, and the message that it gives us. And this is what I want to focus on. So besides what I said about the Simchat Torah, that we are the only ones who dance with the Torah, that shows us what our connection with the Torah is, and how we look at the learning of the Torah, and that we don't look at it something that's forced upon us from the outside, and that it's really an integral part of the Jewish people. So that's a major difference when we speak about religion and our connection to Hashem. For Parshat Lech Lecha, I wanted to be, because of this introduction to the series, I wanted to just point out two interesting differences which from the Parsha, and the first one is concerning Eretz Israel. Every single nation is very attached to their land, very got deep roots to their land. People are very patriotic. The connection between the Jewish people and Am Yisrael are different in like Shimshon of Rosh. Another saying is because our attachment to the land was before the land was even, we were on the land. Our connection to Eretz Israel is not like the nations of the world. Hashem promised Abraham Eretz Israel before he even lived in Eretz Israel. Before we even lived in Eretz Israel, Hashem said, this is your land, and this is the connection to your land, and this land is special. Whereas in the case of the nations of the world, generally their attachment and connection to the land is because they've been there for a long time, and because a person's been in the land, so then he's attached to the land. As the Gemara says, the grace, the beauty, the charm of a land is for those people who live on it. So you can understand it's a totally fundamental difference, and these differences, they help us understand metaphysically that the nationalism of the Jewish people is completely different to that of the nations of the world. And when we speak now about political upheavals and the Jewish people coming back to the land, so we will have to put this factor into any negotiations, in inverted commas, when you're speaking about the land, because it's a totally different perspective of our connection to the land. The second interesting difference is, without going into all the pilpulim, because this is a matter of a machloket, but al kol panim, what is unique about the Jewish person's connection to the land is that he's not allowed to leave the land. In other words, the Rambam paskin that under certain circumstances, for parnasah, to make a living, to visit, and for the sake of marrying, because there's a teacher, etc., there's all in order to fulfill the mitzvah of kibbud ba'ev. So there are all sorts of laws which allow a person, and situations which allow a person to leave Eretz Israel once he's living here. But that doesn't change the fundamental basis, is that the starting point is that basically once we're here, we're not allowed to leave the land. And where do you see that in any other culture? Where do you see that that people, no matter how much they love their land and attached to the land, that they're not allowed to, that there is an issur for them, a religious issur, a metaphysical issur for them to leave the land of Hashem. And that is because, and then when we see these laws, one understands that our connection to Eretz Yisrael is a metaphysical connection. It's not just a merely a national connection, and this is the great difference between our attachment to our land and the nations of the world. I just have to add on with a request, since that in order to do this series of Spot the Difference, I mean, a person has to have like a totally encyclopedic knowledge and a knowledge, a very wide knowledge and experience of the world at large. And I haven't got that. It doesn't mean that there isn't room for this to point out certain differences. And therefore I ask anyone who's looking at this video, if you know of certain cultures, certain practices, certain experiences which show that what I'm saying is not 100% correct, that something is very, very, what I think is a difference, or that it doesn't apply to other cultures, that it actually does. So then please do let me know in the comments. And because it's like impossible to, even if a person would read for the last 150 years all the copies of National Geographic and go to all the places in the world, you can't visit every single place and know all the cultures inside out. So therefore, when I make statements like, I don't know that there's any other culture or any other religion or other group of people who do this and this versus Judaism. So obviously I say it with a certain amount of humility, with realizing the limitations. And I hope therefore that you see things in a broader picture. If it's grossly incorrect, then please do comment on the video.